My name is Max Brooks. I'm an author, and I have struggled, overcame, and continue to have the scars of dyslexia. I know I was very young. I think it might have been around the first grade, and I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was struggling. And it wasn't laziness. I knew that something was definitely wrong, because it's not like I went home and watched TV all day. I went home and did homework, and I studied, and I tried to pay attention. My mother got me tested, and it made me realize I had something called dyslexia, and which meant that I was going to have to accommodate and adapt. It certainly wasn't fun. I had a teacher who would say to me, "You can do it, you just don't want to do it," which doesn't make sense. Why would I not want to do it? So I struggled a lot, and there was a lot of tears, and there was a lot of frustration, and a lot of anger. But fortunately, I learned coping skills. My mother made sure that all my tests were untimed. That was a huge one. She made sure that all my books were recorded onto audiobooks at the Institute for the Blind, the Braille Institute, so I could listen to them. She made sure all my teachers were aware of my situation. And then she got me comic books. I don't know where she found them back then, but there were a few that taught real subjects. It still took a toll on my education. And it took a toll on my self-esteem, because, I mean, I don't care what they told me, when all the kids around you are doing it the normal way and you're not, well, how is your self-esteem not going to take a dive? I was a very imaginative kid. Well, I mean, I had to be, because I grew up in LA, which meant there were no neighborhoods. Nobody playing stickball out there. I grew up as the children of celebrities, which meant I was isolated. And I was an only child. And that boiled down to a lot of time hanging out in my room, playing with my G.I. Joes, making up stories. And I knew from a very, very early age I wanted to be a storyteller. There were stories that I wanted to see that nobody else was telling, and I thought, well, I will do it myself. That's why I wrote Zombie Survival Guide. I wanted a book on how to fight zombies. No one had them. You're being told, you're stupid, you're lazy, you're stupid, you're lazy. And even if you're not told that, you can cross a line in your mind where the monster wakes up and will whisper in your ear for the rest of your life and will say, you can't do that. You can't. And that haunted me for many years. And I didn't take choices that I should have done. I didn't challenge myself. Because it's not the learning issue that's going to haunt these people the rest of their lives. It is the self-esteem issue. I'm very lucky that my mom got me. And I think it partially came from her being an outsider. My mother came from a very poor Italian family. For my mother to step out of that world into this world of Hollywood and sophistication and always feeling like an outsider, I think helped her identify and empathize with me. In a world right now, creative thinking is the most important thing. And when I say creative thinking, I don't mean making up stories. I mean, it made me an independent thinker. It made me a problem solver. Whenever there's a problem that comes along, solving problems is all I know, because my whole life has been a problem. So I'm not one of those people that freezes when a challenge comes my way. I didn't understand anything the first time I read it or it was told to me. So I had to study it again and again and again, and therefore I understood it on a much deeper level. As a kid, it was like trying to fight through a zombie plague. Now I pretty much got a handle of it, but every time I'm doing a big challenge, it comes up. I mean, the monster never died. The monster just went to sleep, and it wakes up every time a new challenge comes along. All my stuff I ground in research, but that research is hard. I take the coping mechanisms from my childhood. For example, if I have to read a giant book about the Civil War, I find the audiobook, and then I find the hard copy. And as I'm listening to the audiobook, I'm underlining the hard copy. And if there isn't an audiobook, I'm not going to be able to read it. It's fits and spurts, and it will always be with me, and I'm always having to get a handle on it. Having a child changed my perspective on learning issues, because I thought we'd conquered it. There's so much more work to be done, and as an adult, it also made me aware of the social stigma. You know, as a kid, You're aware maybe with other kids, but you're not aware of the stigma among the parents. The punch in the gut that you get from other parents who are judging is just brutal, and it makes you be stronger and also forces you to have to shield your child from that because you don't want to pass that anxiety down to them. Everything's going to change, and the sooner that you make that mental shift, the sooner you get over the denial and think the kid's going to grow out of it or things are going to be fine, and the sooner you change gears and accept your new life, you'll be happier. You will make such a difference for the kids because what I have found is way too much time with kids with learning issues is just wasted on getting to that moment of acceptance. So cut out the other steps, accept it, and move forward.